first off, how did this get started? Where did this idea come from? Because this is spectacular. Welcome to Mornings on Main Street, Murfreesboro. I'm your host, Stefanie Miller. Thanks so much for joining us. Today, we're learning about the exhibits, both present and those coming in the future, to the Discovery Center at Murfree Spring. If you haven't been out here, make a trip on out. This is the backside of the Discovery Center. But let me tell you, one of the fun exhibits coming up is centered around Paw Patrol. And then there's also a new guest here at the Discovery Center that you'll get to meet very soon. I also take a trip to the Todd Art Gallery at Middle Tennessee State University to look at their new exhibition they have there for you to check out, as well as what's to come once the school year gets started. Monty will have our Sports Minute. We'll have that and more coming up.
They said I wouldn't make it without a college degree.
They said only a man could be a roofing executive.
They said a former addict always relapses.
They said my amputation would keep me out of roofing.
They said never give an ex-convict a second chance.
They said I could never be a leader.
They said I couldn't support my family as a single mom.
At Rackley, we say they're wrong.
Want to change the world? Change it, one roof at a time.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
I am in one of the coolest spots, I think. It is the Discovery Center at Murfree Spring. We have the CEO here of the Discovery Center. We have Tara MacDougall. Tara, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
As soon as you step in the doors here, you just are immersed in so much fun, or at least little ones are immersed in so much fun. What can people expect when they come out?
When people come out, they can expect something different all the time, but it's a sense of joy and play, and what we realize about our facility is that children can kind of be in charge, and because we have open space, adults can really kind of keep track of their children, but they feel the independence, and that is very complementary to growth with children.
100%, and there's just endless learning here, different exhibits that you have. Can you walk us through some of the exhibits that you have on hand?
Sure. One of our absolute favorite exhibits is our Waterworks, which is our water table downstairs. And there are all kinds of opportunities to learn about physics, but at the same time it's mostly play, and children can use paddles to divert water. There are rockets, there's fishing poles to splash. Highly recommended to put on rain gear as an adult or as a child when you come to play in Waterworks. But in addition to that, we have an iconic fire truck that is inside the building, and the secret about that is this building was built around the fire truck. That's how we got it in here.
Are you serious?
But it was operational decades ago in Murfreesboro, so it's a favorite photography spot for people when they visit.
I'm sure that it is. And then what do we have behind me? This is a fun little mural.
This is part of our Science of Music exhibit, which was designed and fabricated in-house. But a professor at MTSU, Michael Baggerly, led this community art project for us, and he put it all together, but the community actually painted and shaped the pieces that go into this kind of modern take on Science of Music. So we're in our temporary space right now, and this typically changes out about every 5 to 6 months. We are thrilled that in about another month or so, Paw Patrol is arriving, and that is going to be a big draw. It will be arriving in 3 18-wheelers, so lots of exhibit fun when that gets here in September.
Oh, you know, some kids are going to be jumping for joy for that one. You have something else that's interesting, and you're going to see video here in just a minute, but it is a We Are Tennessee.
Yes, that is an exhibit that utilizes some space in the center that is just a flat wall near an elevator, and we are trying to come up with what we could do that's engaging. And so we have an annual competition in photography, poetry, and writing, and painting, and you submit, and then it gets posted on the wall for 1 to 2 years, and then it changes out. So we're thrilled that we have that. The tapestry, the quilt in the background is a Tennessee famous quilt. So we're thrilled to have that here.
What does it take to bring in the exhibits that you have? What work goes into that?
A lot of planning, advanced planning, a lot of work, a lot of money. We have a very generous community. These exhibits are extremely expensive, but we do research to understand what appeals to our community and to our region, and what families want to engage with. So it is something that is well planned out. We also do a lot of evaluation. So when we do have in-house exhibits that are permanent here, we're constantly evaluating. We hold focus groups so that families can feel this is their center.
Now tell us a little bit about the wetland area, because it's just not the inside where you can explore, but you can explore outside.
We have wonderful field trips and tours out in the wetlands. We have a pump house that has wading boots and nets, and we do catch and release field trips. The boardwalk goes through 22 acres of wetlands where we have herons and otters. And that is really an example of a successful public-private partnership and opened in 2002. It's going under some refurbishment right now, but it'll be ready for the fall exploration.
For those who may not know, how special is it to have something like this in a community?
It is extremely special, and even more important to have something like this in a community. We see right now about 130,000 visitors a year, and we have field trips from 18 counties in our region. But we work with the Department of Education and our Science Alliance partners in making sure our curriculum is complementary to what children need to learn. So we're a teacher's best friend, and we're always there to make the experience better, to kind of supplement and provide that added layer of learning and that passion for learning. We don't do any testing here. It's all about the hands-on experiential learning.
Love that. You also have something else that's very special. It is your fox.
It is our baby fox, and she arrived probably a month or so ago. She's a baby fox, but she's a white baby fox, and she's going to have her big debut soon. Okay. She's indoors right now. I believe her name is Dottie Jean, and so we're just thrilled to have her. We have about 40 different critters that we use for programming, including Pemberton, our great horned owl. We have Bill, our ball python. We have some critters you would love and some that you may just want to look at.
But always, of course, wanting to learn something.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There is always a learning aspect, which is absolutely beautiful. Is there anything else that I haven't asked that you would like to share?
A couple of things that we have coming up. Discover India is a free day in August. Okay. So that's coming up August 26th, and Hispanic Heritage is coming up in September. And then Discovery Center is also the founder of the statewide Tennessee STEAM Festival, which is showing that science, technology, engineering, art, and math are everywhere. And that kicks off October 13th. And that is across the state. So lots going on.
I would say so. Where can we continue to track what's happening here?
If you go to the website, explorethedc.org is a great place to get all the information. It changes constantly, or of course just give us a call. But it's pretty easy to see what's going on a daily basis here online.
Tara, thank you so much. Again, Discovery Center at Murfree Spring. If you're here 1 week, make sure that you plan on coming back in the next couple of weeks. You always want to make sure that you're visiting here when you make a stop in Murfreesboro. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stick with us here on Mornings on Main Street. We have a lot more coming up.
Did you know that up to 80% of us will experience back or neck pain during our lifetime? Many of you are offered surgery or addictive pain pills to relieve your chronic pain. At the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief, we have been leading the way to better health, naturally, and have helped tens of thousands of people right here in Middle Tennessee for the past 30 years.
I came to Dr. Gill about 10 years ago after my local doctors recommended surgery. I knew about Dr. Gill and wanted to see if he could help me. 10 years later, I am pain-free, no surgery, and no pain pills.
Surgery is scary, and over 40% of all back surgeries fail, creating a cycle of surgery and pills. There is a safer solution to your chronic pain. Make the call to the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief today and get your life back. This office visit is normally $299, but call today and receive your initial consultation, report of finding for just $49. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Call 615-768-8743. That's 615-768-8743.
Welcome back this morning. I'm here on the campus of Middle Tennessee State University at the Todd Art Gallery. You see some of the work behind us to tell us about not only what you have on display right now, the exhibit that's here, but what's to come. We have Coordinator of Art and Design, Mr. Eric Snyder. Thank you so much for your time.
Glad to be here.
So what do we have right now?
Here we are now.
Here we are now,
right.
Yes.
It is we call it it's a collaborative effort. It's curated by Dr. Barbara and Mr. Leroy Hodges. This is, I think, the fourth one they've put together for us over the last few years. Nice. And essentially it's a storytelling exhibit in that everything features like multiple cultures. So you're looking at African American culture, you're looking at Latino, Hispanic culture, those kind of things. And so you go in and you look and everything is telling the story. It tells about the artist and the background and that kind of thing.
That's beautiful. And the artists that behind the work, those are both local and regional artists, is that correct?
Correct.
Very nice. And then how long will this be on display? How long can people come in and check this out?
This show will be here for another 2 weeks.
Okay. And after that, what is to come?
After that, then the semester kicks in and we'll have Jessica Heisch, who is a graphic design illustrator artist from California. So we're having her work brought up from the University of North Florida. And she's also sending us some of her personal journals to put on display.
How do you make the selection of who you put out on display, what exhibits you have here? How do you make that determination?
Last few years, we've done it so that I'll call it an area calendar, and so that, let's say, studio art, graphic design, that everybody falls on this rotation. And when you're coming up, we'll go to that particular area and ask those faculty members, who would you like us to investigate to see if we can get them here.
Very nice. I love that you seek the outside input for that.
We do.
What do you hope that people walk away with when they come here to campus, to the Todd Art Gallery? What do you want them to walk away with?
Well, of course, we want them to be enlightened. We want them to discover not just the beauty of art and the aesthetics of it, but also the stories, such as this exhibit, that are included with each piece of artwork.
Well, after being here for 16 years, what does the art mean to you now as someone who helps make sure that all of this is on display?
It's 16 years. Prior to that, I worked with my dad for 20 some years. He used to teach here, in fact. So actually, I brought a good bit of art experience to the table when I got here, and I was hired under Lon Newell, who was the director of the gallery at the time. And he unfortunately passed away a couple of years later, and just so slowly the gallery has just sort of pushed along and gotten more and more expansive in our programming. Like, we didn't used to have anything in the summers, and now we do. And in fact, this whole next year is a booked schedule. Yes. So
that's wonderful. What's the foot traffic that you see?
It varies from show to show. A show like this one, you're going to get several hundred folks during the opening. And if we go to like a solo show, then that has maybe more emphasis for our students. We have been doing both a community opening and a student opening so that we cover both crowds, that kind of thing. So we're always trying to find ways to better serve our communities.
And tell me, Mr. Snyder, how can we follow what's coming up here at the Todd Art Gallery?
Go to the Department of Art and Design's website that's part of MTSU's main website. So it's mtsu.edu/art.
Be sure to make it out here before this particular exhibit is gone, but you have so many more to look forward to in the coming months. Again, Mr. Snyder, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Stick right here on Mornings on Main Street. We have a lot more coming up right after this.
Sparks will fly and smoke will roll at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway as America's favorite short track roars back to life Saturday, July 29th with the return of high-speed, non-wing open-wheel sprint cars for the first time in almost 20 years. The ProDoor Manufacturing 40 joining the 500 Sprint Car Tour will be the Jake Sari All-Stars Tour presented by Chevrolet Performance. Plus, all 6 local quarter-mile divisions. Get your tickets for the return of high-octane.
Well, the 500 Sprint Car Tour is coming to Nashville this weekend, and that is where you will catch Taylor Ferns. She's the driver of the number 55 Bradford Allen Sprint Car for Taylor Ferns Racing. Again, the action taking place at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway on Saturday afternoon. Taylor, thank you so much for your time and joining us.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm excited to be here and chat with you guys and talk about the ProDoor Manufacturing 500 Sprint Car Tour race this weekend.
You have so many race fans. There are so many race fans out there. What do you love most about what you do?
So for me, coming from sprint car racing and with an open wheel background, I love everything about motorsports, if you will, as far as the lifestyle, the speed, the adrenaline. And a lot of it also, like your common day workplace, comes back to the people that I work with and that you kind of interact with in the pits, and kind of the networking and relationships that I've built over the past 21 years. And so for me, it's a little bit of everything. And so I'm excited to kind of show that off to the Nashville fan base this weekend.
It blows my mind. I'm looking at you and you were sharing that you've been doing this since the age of 6. So for 21 years now, a form of racing. Where did you get that inkling to be like, oh, I want to do this? I want to drive a race car when I become an adult.
Yeah, no. So I grew up in a racing family.
Okay.
My maternal uncles race late models and stock cars. So a complete 180 from the form of racing that I do with open wheel racing. And so I just always kind of was around it. And I felt like I knew at a young age when I was around 4 that I was going to have something to do in motorsports. But since there's not a lot of, especially at that time, visible females within the industry, I wasn't sure what that might look like. And so when I was 6 years old, my dad drove me up to Lansing, Michigan, and I sat in a quarter midget for the first time. And it was instant butterflies. For me, that was my first love. And so, yeah, I've been doing it for 21 years now. I took some time off and I got my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and I'm finishing up law school now. But, motorsports is a big passion of mine and is a huge foundation of who I am as a person. And so I'm really excited for the race this weekend, and I'm looking forward to racing at the fairgrounds for the first time.
What an inspiration. I can imagine little girls looking up to you saying, I want to do what Taylor does one day. Who do you look up to? Who do you kind of pull from?
Yes, so for me, I've had the opportunity to be mentored by Lynn St. James, who was a pioneer and trailblazer for females within racing. She raced in the Indy 500 a handful of times, and I've been working with her since the age of 12. And so she's had a tremendous impact, not only for females in motorsports, but on my life personally and professionally. Aside from that, I was a big Tony Stewart fan growing up. And so, he kind of came from the USAC and the sprint car racing like I have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've looked up to him my entire career almost as well.
So you've been doing the series for 2 years, am I correct?
Yeah, well, the 500 Sprint Car Tour rebranded last year. So for the tour in general, yes, 2 years, but I've been racing sprint cars since I was 14. So I've been doing it for a long time. I won my first sprint car race that I ever started too. So little fun fact.
Oh, wow. No, but what was that feeling like when you win that first one?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I kind of surprised myself. I mean, I was a 14-year-old girl, right? I'm racing against these grown men. And, my kind of ambition at the beginning of the race was, finish the race. I knew we had a fast car, so try to aim for the top 3 and pass for the lead with like 5 to go. And at the end, I was like, oh my gosh, did I just win this race? My first sprint car race. So,
I did that.
yeah. And so it surprised myself. But I mean, I've won like probably over 15 sprint car races total in my career. So that was just that just got the ball rolling, if you will.
Well, let's talk about some of your finishes. So like just noting a few and, pop in whenever you want. So like finished 8th in point standings in 2022. Right now you're currently 7th in points. I'm sorry, what does that mean?
Yes, so throughout the season, the 500 Sprint Car Tour, we race about 9 to 10 races.
Okay.
And so the way points work is that each race you kind of accumulate a certain set of points, right? So for qualifying and your finishes and your main event. And so the points ranking is basically a collection of your entire season.
Okay.
And so, we haven't had a lot of luck the past couple of years as far as like cumulatively as our season goes. And so, I always kind of joke and say we're not points chasers. So I think in that regard, we're always going for the win. And so we don't have to worry about being kind of in the points, right? So we'll compete. We'll try to contend for the win, right?
My husband would be shaking his head right now. He'd be like, I've told you this. I've told you what that means. And then you have best finish of 2nd at Anderson Speedway. That happened on April 8th this year. Best qualifying position of 2nd at Anderson Speedway. That was in October of last year in 2022. That's incredible for you. Are there any that I'm not noting or that I don't have access to?
No, as far as the 500 Sprint Car Tour goes, I mean, those are my best stats. I always try to plug in that, like, I obviously since the tour rebranded, I've won like auto value sprint car races, which is like basically the same form of stuff that we're doing now. But I know I got to get that 500 tour win. So hopefully everyone will come out to Nashville and they'll witness it on Saturday.
I'm rooting for you, Taylor. Taylor, yes, take that home. You're the driver, you're the one out there behind the wheel, but I'm sure this can't be done without a team.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I'm the team owner too. So I'm the driver and the team owner. So it takes on extra responsibilities, but obviously wouldn't be able to make it to the racetrack without my incredible crew, my crew chief, and all the additional help that we have. And then in addition to all my sponsors like Bradford Allen, Mobile One, 1-800-CALL-SAM, there's so many components and complexities that go into racing. And so I'm just so grateful to be in the position that I am today. And hopefully we can park the 55 Bradford Allen sprint car in Victory Lane. And also a huge thank you to ProDoor Manufacturing for helping facilitate this and putting this race on.
Oh, wonderful. And last couple questions for you. What is your warm up? What do you do before getting in to get set for the race? Do you have a routine?
So I guess like right before the race, I'll kind of just keep to myself, if you will, and kind of think like pre-race thoughts as far as what I might be able to expect, or like based on where I'm starting, like maybe map out different ways that the start can go. But I always kind of joke and say, no matter as much as I planned before and they drop the green flag, it always ends up going like some schematic that I didn't even intend on. And so that's racing, right? But yeah, definitely just try to keep calm and just like come from a place of peace, right? And just make the most out of it.
Oh, that is great. Any advice for young girls out there that may be looking up to you to say, you know, either want to do that or, you know, they aspire to do something? What can you say to them?
Yeah, for me, as cheesy as it may sound, just follow your passion, you know, and your instincts will tell you what that is. And oddly enough, when I was younger, I didn't even really, I knew I loved racing, right? But kind of it's about the group that you surround yourself with. Like my parents recognized at such a young age that motorsports was my passion. And it honestly truly is like 21 years on. And so it just comes back to pursuing your passion, never giving up. Literally, there will be so many people and obstacles that will be thrown your way in life, aside from like pursuing whatever you want to do. And so I just kind of take those as tests, right? Like how bad do you want it? And just overcome it, because there will be people trying to come at you or just like things that will try to prevent you from trying to reach your dreams. But you just got to keep going.
Taylor, thank you for your time. We wish you the absolute best this weekend at the 500 Sprint Car happening at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Guys, if you're heading out there, look for the number 55 Bradford Allen Sprint Car for Taylor Ferns Racing. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It was great to chat with you.
Wonderful chatting with you, and you're welcome. Stick with us here on Mornings on Main Street. We'll have more right after this.
Yo, I'm serious right now. They have a dragon here. I saw it. Get out of here. Come on, I'll show you. Wait up. Whoa! I told you so. That is a dragon.
Good morning. This is Monte Hale with the Murfreesboro Post. Hard to believe, but we're like 22 days until high school football season starts here in Rutherford County. But I thought today I'd kind of go off the beaten path a little bit. About 5 years ago, I met a man named Eric Draper. He was from Memphis. He's from Memphis originally, and was in the Army and got out of the Army. But when he was in the Army, he did a little boxing, and he eventually had about 55 amateur fights, and he chose to turn pro. He described himself to me as a journeyman boxer. You know, those are the guys that are kind of looking for the big payday fight. If, you know, somebody gets hurt at the last moment, sick, whatever the case may be, and they fill in and typically are fighting a top contender or maybe even the champion. He hasn't made it that far yet, hasn't got that big payday, but he's made a name for himself. He owns 4 middleweight belts, including most recently in Nashville, he won the Tennessee State middleweight title. It started off slow for Eric. When I met him, he was, I think, 7-10-1 as a pro fighter. Today, he is 21-10-1. So he's won 14 fights in a row. And he's very dedicated at his craft. And most recently, he beat the last guy that beat him, Yoleksi Leva. He beat him by a unanimous decision. Most of his fights have been ending in knockouts. This was a fight that he dominated, but he didn't knock him out, but he still dominated him. And he trained in Smyrna for a long time. Then he moved to Murfreesboro, and he now works with Bill Taylor, who owns the Bushido School of Karate, and he also has a gym that he runs. And Bill was actually a classmate of mine, and at one time was the third-ranked kickboxer in the world in his weight class. So he's really helped him out a lot, and so now he's on his way. He's going to be fighting again at the Embassy Suites on August 12th. It's a great venue for boxing or MMA or whatever if you've never been over there. So he's still chasing that dream. And the amazing thing about it is Eric Draper is 46 years old. Think about that, 46 years old. and is knocking people out half his age on a regular basis. So I guess it goes to show that you're never too old to chase your dream. All right, I'm Monte Hale with the Murfreesboro Post. We'll talk to you next time.